Hello and welcome to Modelling Misadventures, and in today's video I'm going to be carrying on with the FAB1 Rolls-Royce from Thunderbirds. Now in the last video I got the seats done on the interior, and so now I'm going to have a crack at making a figure of Parker and Lady Penelope. Now my starting point for these figures is going to be these two little resin figures I have of Parker and Lady Penelope. And these came with some Japanese toys that I got from Japan. You can see that Parker's a very nice detailed figure and got some very nice features on his face. Not too sure about Lady Penelope. She doesn't look quite right, but this is all that I've got to go off. Now what I'm going to do with these figures is use the technique that I use right at the start of this journey to build FAB1, and that is photogrammetry. In other words, I'm going to take hundreds of pictures of these figures from different angles and then use some computer software to try and reconstruct that into a 3D image that can then be converted into a file for 3D printing.
Now I went through this technique of photogrammetry in the very first video in this FAB1 build series. I tried to take photographs of a plastic kit of FAB1 and then use that to 3D print a prototype. And that turned out in hilarious circumstances. If you want to see that video, I recommend you go back and have a look at it. But for this attempt, I've taken lots of photographs of Parker from all different angles, all the way around, from different sides and different elevations. And we're now going to use these photographs to try and recreate a 3D printable version of his head. Now this is the program that converts those photographs into a 3D image. You load up all of those photographs, and there's 174 of them, into this software, and it basically then tries to recreate a 3D representation of the model from all those pictures. And you can see on here, this is what it's attempted to do. And it takes a long time to render this, but when it has finished, it will create a file that can then be uploaded into a 3D printer. Now in order to do that, you have to import the file from the Meshroom software into this software here, which is known as Blender. Now Blender allows you to tidy this up. For example, you could chop the head off and get rid of this bit. So it does allow you to clean the model up a little bit. And then when you finish doing that, you can export the file from Blender as an STL file, and it's the STL file that can be read by the 3D printing software. So I've now imported that tidied up file into the 3D printing slicer, and I've chopped Parker's body off and just left his head, and you can see here that we've got a reasonably good representation of the facial features. Got a little bit of a defect on the nose, and the skin surface is a bit rough, but I think this is going to be good enough. So let's have a go at 3D printing a prototype of this.
So here it is, my first prototype of Parker's face. Now that's not too bad, is it? Got a little defect in the nose, but actually I think that's pretty good. And to think that all came from some photographs of that original model. It's great, isn't it? Now this face is actually too big, and I've actually printed another couple of Parker heads here. Now I've got 3 heads of different sizes. It's actually been quite difficult to try and find the exact size that will fit in the car, but I think it's going to be actually this small one that is the one that I end up using. So I now need a body for Parker's head, and I've resorted to my old faithful. This is an articulated body model that you can get off the internet. It actually prints in one piece, if you can believe it or not, and you can move the legs like that. Had to resize it, but this is going to be about the right size for the car. So we end up with something like that. Let's see what he looks like in the car. Now, I've played around with the sizing quite a bit here with a few different versions, but I think this is about right. If you look at this other picture of a screenshot from Parker sitting in Fab 1, it looks to be about the right size. I know it looks quite small in there, but I think that is going to be what we want. Now, I've done exactly the same for Lady Penelope's head, and this is what I've got. Again, it's pretty rough and ready. There's a few defects, but I think it'll be okay. And I've 3D printed a female articulated body, which I'm going to use, and hopefully when it all goes together, she'll look okay. Right, I'm going to start working on Parker's head, and although it's pretty good shape, there's a lot of print lines on it. It's pretty rough. There's some defects. So to start with, I'm going to try and fill in some of the defects with plastic putty. So I'm just going to do the same for Lady Penelope's head with filling and sanding and see how that comes out. I'm trying to sculpt a new nose for Penny. Well, there they are. I've filled them and sanded them. Penelope's got a bit of a nose. I'm going to spray them with filler primer now. Well, quick sanding, and these are not looking too bad, but I'm going to try putting a base coat on of skin tone with this acrylic paint. See what that looks like. Well, they look pretty good after a first coat. Look at Parker, he looks great, doesn't he? Not so sure about Lady Penelope, but anyway, keep going. Now I need to get these heads onto these bodies, and they don't fit at the moment, so I'm going to sand it down with my Dremel tool. I'm pretty happy with how these are coming along. Those are two nice little figures. Now, just got to do some more work on the heads. Well, Parker's looking okay, but I'm not too sure about Penny. I've given these a spray with satin varnish just to give them a bit of a glow. And now it's time to start thinking about the hair. So I've had a look round, and I found this in the fabric shop. It's a pom-pom. I'm going to try and make Parker's hair out of that, but I need to find something for Penny. Well, I'm at the local charity shop. Let's see what we can find in here. This is what I'm after. This ought to do. Happy birthday, Jack.
Okay.
You like it?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, where did you get this? Where did you get this?
The op shop.
Wow. Incredible.
Right, we'll have a crack at Parker first. So my first idea is to glue this hair onto these strips of cotton and then glue them on his head. So we'll see how that works out. Well, this is where we're at so far. He's looking like a bit of a geezer, isn't he? Let's see if I can just improve on this a little bit. Right, time to start Penelope. So, sorry Elsa, but you're going to have a haircut. Well, that's some pretty big hair, Penelope, but I think that's the best I can do. I don't know. Bit like a Barbie doll. So I've given Penelope some new hands because the ones on this print weren't very good. And I've painted her legs and some shoes. And for Parker, I've 3D printed him some shoes, which you can actually get on like that. Now it's time to start thinking about some clothes for these figures. Now I've been to the fabric shop and I've got some pink material for Lady Penelope's dress, and this is hopefully going to be a fur coat, which you see her wearing actually quite often in Fab 1. And for Parker, we've got some grey material for his trousers. I couldn't get any pinstripe material that was small enough for these, so this will have to do. And this is what we're going to use for Parker's tunic. Now a little bit of a team effort here. For some of Penny's dress, I'm going to need the help of Mrs. Modelling Misadventures. For some of the other stuff, I'm going to do it just by cutting and gluing and seeing how it turns out. So Penny's dress has been sewn together by Mrs. Modelling Misadventures, and it's now time to start getting them dressed. Now there's a couple of final things that I need to do to finish off this interior of Fab 1. I need to make some foot pedals for Parker, and I've got this 3D printed sheet with some ridges on it. I'm just going to cut out some little pedals, cover them with silver foil and stick them in on the floor. And then I'm just going to finish off working on this steering wheel and attach it to the dashboard. This was 3D printed in 2 halves, designed it on Tinkercad, and clean it up, paint it, and fasten it to the car. Well, that's the pedal bank. I've put 4 pedals in. I did see a picture of a Fab 1 interior with 4 pedals in, and why not? All Thunderbirds craft had to be a bit different, didn't they? They look all right, don't they? So this is the steering wheel after it's been put together, sprayed in gloss white, and I've just fastened some nail heads on here. Just going to put a little bit of chrome on here with this liquid chrome pen. Look at that. Wow, that has taken absolutely ages to make those figures, but at last, here they are, Parker and Lady Penelope. Now, I know they're not absolutely top class, but they're certainly good enough for me, and I'm actually pretty happy with how they've turned out. So that's going to be it for today. Before I go, I will leave you with some pictures of them sitting in the car, but with that, I'll say thanks for watching. See you next time on Modelling Misadventures.